Hello and welcome to News Central Now. I'm Darshan Usman. The top stories this hour. El-Rufai's suit against Kaduna Assembly adjourned till July 17th. Emmanuel-led faction of Rivers Assembly asks Governor Fubara to represent 2024 budget. Kenya court rules police killing of Pakistani journalist unlawful. Details shortly. News Central Now at this hour begins in Nigeria with education matters, where the Academic Staff Union of Universities say it will be meeting with the federal government on July 25th, 2024 over its unmet demands. This comes as the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SSANU, and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions, NASU, declared on Sunday that they were set for a one-day protest on Tuesday on campuses over their withheld 4-month salaries. The one-day protest would be a prelude to a nationwide protest planned for July 18th. The national president of ASUU, Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, disclosed this to correspondents. According to Osodeke, July 25th was the implementation date in the timeline agreed with the federal government. The protesting academics, who were joined by students, threatened to embark on another round of industrial action if the government refused to fulfill the promises made to them. Let's also tell you that the police command in Jigawa State on Monday confirmed that 2 persons lost their lives while 18 others were rescued in a boat mishap that occurred in the state. DSP Lawan Shisu, the command's police public relations officer, who confirmed this in a statement in Dutse, said the canoe, which had about 20 passengers on board, capsized on its way to Hatim village. The incident occurred on Sunday in Kwelgai village, Auyo local government area, at about 10 p.m. local time. The spokesperson said preliminary investigation revealed that the accident was primarily caused by powerful waves and overloading to the extent where the driver was unable to steer the canoe. Now to legal matters. A federal high court in Kaduna has adjourned a suit by former governor of Kaduna, Nasir El-Rufai, against the State House of Assembly and Attorney General until July 17, 2024. El-Rufai is seeking to nullify the Assembly's report accusing him of embezzling 423 billion naira. His lawyer, Abdul Hakim Mustafa, claims the Assembly violated El-Rufai's right to a fair hearing by not inviting him to the probe. The Assembly and Attorney General's Council requested more time to file preliminary objections, which the judge granted. The Assembly's ad hoc committee indicted El-Rufai on June 5, 2024, prompting the current governor, Obasani, to urge a formal investigation. The Assembly's probe followed Sani's complaints about inheriting a significant debt from El-Rufai's administration. We now head to Rivers State, where the Martin Amaewhule-led Rivers State House of Assembly has issued a 7-day ultimatum to Governor Siminalayi Fubara to represent the 2024 budget to the House. The ultimatum came after the first sitting of the pro-Wike House on Monday. The other house, led by Victor Okojumbo, is also holding a parallel sitting. Fubara had earlier presented the budget to the House loyal to him when his current Chief of Staff, Edison Ehie, presided as the Speaker. Ehie and other pro-Fubara lawmakers passed the budget estimates, and the governor signed the bill into law. He stated that it is aimed at promoting economic development, inclusive growth, and addressing socio-economic inequality in the state. Staying in Rivers State, the Court of Appeal sitting in Port Harcourt has dismissed 2 appeals instituted by local government chairmen loyal to the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. Now, the appeals were filed by Enyada Kuki Gam and 6 others. They were challenging the decisions of the High Court regarding the elongation of their tenure. The court, while delivering its ruling on Monday, found the appeals to be without merit and consequently struck them out. Now, to discuss this, we are joined by Honourable Samuel Wan, factional chairman, Ikwere local government area. Hello, Honourable. Thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And it is good that we tell the public what actually happened.
All right. Now,
I know that your reporters were in court.
Yes. In telling the public what happened, to begin with, let's, quickly create a foundation here. What was the reason behind your decision to appeal the lower court's ruling? And do you believe that the Court of Appeal's decision was fair?
First of all, we are law-abiding citizens. We are not people who don't understand the tenets of democracy. We know that the judiciary is the hope of the common man. So when judiciary make pronouncements, we must obey judicial pronouncement if we are true Democrats. We will not pick or choose which laws of court we will obey. What happened today in the Court of Appeal was that the Court of Appeal found out that based on the Court of Appeal rule, 6 Rule 4, states clearly that our party should have filed that case at the trial court before coming to the Court of Appeal. So the process was struck out, and we're asked to go back and refile the process at the lower court, after which we could now come back to the Court of Appeal. It is a judicial process. It must be followed. The case has not been thrown away. It is just that that process must be adhered to. So we agree with the Court of Appeal. Our lawyers are going to make sure that that process goes on, because the action of the lower court is going to affect us. The laws that they talked about was made by the Liberty House of Assembly, which is going to say whether we will remain in office so that elections will be conducted or not. So we're going back to do the needful as directed by the Court of Appeal, and that appeal will still survive by the grace of God. Having said so, coming back to the issue of the House of Assembly asking the governor to represent the
Okay, no, we've actually not gotten there yet, Honourable. We're actually not focusing on that for now. But then we would actually love to hear your thoughts in the end of the interview. But then, still on this matter of the appeal and everything, how do you think that this outcome will affect the political career and future prospects of you and other chairmen in the state?
To even begin with, the issue that is on ground now, as stated by the same Court of Appeal last week, said clearly every action taken by Oko Jumbo and his three friends are null and void, meaning all the CCC caretaker committee chairmen that appeared before them, commissioners that appeared before them, the Attorney General that appeared for any dealing, anything done by the Oko Jumbo-led house is null and void. It is the ruling of the Court of Appeal. Until that ruling is vacated by the Supreme Court, that is the laws of our land. So as far as we are concerned, we have the ample opportunity to go back to the trial court, file our notice of joinder, and it's our right for the lower court to allow us to join, because the actions taken by the lower court will affect us. That's why in the judicial process, our legal team are doing the needful. Nothing unusual happened today in court. Nothing unusual.
All right, now talking about nothing unusual happening today in court, and you said you'd be going to file a notice of rejoinder. I did ask a question, the first time. I asked if you actually feel or believe that the decision was fair. I don't think you've actually answered that.
Of course, it is fair. The decision should not only be fair when it goes against you. If the Court of Appeal has said the process of you coming to Court of Appeal direct to file this appeal is not the process of court based on Rule 6, under 6 Rule 4, or how they even say it, it is clear that you must go back to do the needful, to do the right thing. We, on our side, we have told you that we will always stand by the rule of law. We will obey every court decision, whether they are against us or they are for us. That is the way Democrats behave. Democrats don't just pick and choose decisions of courts that are in their favor. like as we speak today, there are a lot of things that are happening at the same time in Rivers State because of desperation. And so I am waiting for your interview to come to that, so I will tell the public where we are now in our states and what is happening.
Okay. All right. Now, you did mention that you're considering further legal action and, exploring other avenues to challenge the decision. But if, it comes in favor of the governor, will you accept the outcome and move on?
Why wouldn't we accept the outcome? Why are we here? We are public servants. And we swore an oath to uphold the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Irrespective of whose God is going to hurt, we will do that. If a court ruling is against you, you will obey. Because without the judiciary and the legislature, there is no democracy. That is the foundation of our coexistence. And that's why in this society we agree to be governed by laws.
Okay, so you're saying that despite your differences in opinion and also your political affiliation, you intend to work with, the new administration and Governor Fubara to be able to move Rivers State forward.
I don't understand what that question means. You asked me a question about the judiciary. I just answered. And I told you, if the court says we have done something, we didn't file documents properly, we should go and fight and come back. We have done that. We've not gotten to that level.
Okay, now just briefly,
our governor. If a man is our governor and the man is not governing us by the rule of law, the man is not governing us, is not obeying the foundational item which we all practice democracy, which is constitution. How will you expect us to hold our hands and not bring it to the fore? We must bring out these issues to the public because we are practicing a constitutional democracy.
All right, now quickly speak to us on the Emmanuel-led, faction that actually said that the governor should represent the budget. You're going to speak to us on that. Go ahead and do that.
Yes. First of all, there must be a correction of the narrative that you people in the press have. And I find it difficult to believe that your reporters are not feeding you the proper information. Don't forget that when this crisis broke out in October, the day the governor was served impeachment notice, that same day, Edison Ehie was impeached as the leader of the 10th Assembly and suspended indefinitely alongside Oko Jumbo, Sokari Goodhead, and the man representing the governor of Popo Koro. They were suspended properly. They've not gone to court to challenge the suspension. And even at that, the Supreme Court has ruled clearly to say you must have 1/3 as a quorum for you to do any legislative business that will stand. Where did Edison Ehie get the 1/3 that elected him speaker when 27% out of 31 are on one side and him and 3 others are on another side? And that was why when we appeared before Mr. President, one of the conditions Mr. President listed out before the governor and all our leaders and we all in the villa was that you cannot take a budget of a state to 4 persons when you have 27 persons. And as far as we are concerned, we're just shocked that Nigerians are keeping quiet. And our governor, as he stands today, this 31st of June, has no capacity to spend Rivers State money because there is no budget. And that is why the proper assembly, as cleared by the Court of Appeal, has said, maybe you have forgotten, Mr. Governor. You are now spending Rivers money without appropriation because from 1st of July, he has no right to spend that money because there's no appropriation. That he should bring the budget before the proper assembly so that Rivers people can have a proper budget so that that budget can provide for the election you want to conduct, provide for payment of salary, provide for running the day-to-day activities in the state. That's what the assembly have done and which is consistent with the law. And so, Justice Omotosho, in his ruling of 24th of January 2024, stated clearly, you must present the budget to the Martins Amehule-led assembly. Edison Ehie never existed. All his actions are null and void. That is Justice Omotosho. Court of Appeal has come again to uphold that same ruling, to say Oko Jumbo does not exist in the eye of the law. All actions taken by him are null and void. So the question is, are we going to have a state run like a banana republic where we will not have appropriation? A state like Rivers State? No, that is not the democracy our founding fathers left for us. And nobody should come and play the issue of being oppressed, hiring people. We just saw a man now come up from Zenith Labour Party because he was in government house day before yesterday night. Now he has joined the fray. River State is now a cash cow. Every Tondika Harry from one state are coming to say things, forgetting that there are laws. When the law comes, all those things will stand. You cannot build something on nothing and expect it to stand. It is clear there was no house led by Edison a year because nobody elected a speaker. There was no house led by Okojombo. A suspended man cannot be elected by 2-3 persons to become speaker. Okay, if you say Okojombo is the speaker, Sogarigude is deputy speaker, the other man is chief whip or leader of the house, who are the members of the house?
All right. Well, thank you so much.
You must be one-third for you to take any decision that
Honourable,
is valid.
we've actually run out of time right now, but thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to speak to us on this. This is definitely a developing story, so we'll circle back to you, for more on this. Thank you so much.
But as an information you allow me to give to the public, one small information, please. As I speak to you now, even despite the Supreme Court ruling, the Court of Appeal ruling, that Governor Fubara has to go to Supreme Court to appeal. He has refused to appeal. What has he done? Today he has gone behind again to another court at the state court to go and seek another injunction. This time around, barring the chief judge of the state from dealing with the matter led assembly because he's desperate. He's afraid of impeachment. He believes that impeachment is coming his way. The question is, why be desperate if you're doing the right thing? You have the right to appeal.
All right. All right. Well, thank you.
Court of Appeal. Why go back to the state high court?
Thank you so much, Honourable.
To create more political crisis.
We have to wrap up this conversation right now. Thank you so much. With that, we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, the news continues. Stay with us. Welcome back. President Bola Tinubu has been re-elected for another one-year tenure as chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government. Now, Tinubu, whose first tenure is to elapse on July 9, 2024, was elected by a unanimous decision of fellow heads of government at the 65th Ordinary Session of the authority held at the State House in Abuja on Sunday. However, the president's re-election has drawn mixed feelings among analysts, especially concerning how Nigeria should benefit from his position and how the region has fared so far. News Central's Bernard Akede has more.
After heading the region for one straight year, fellow heads of governments have unanimously given their vote of confidence and decided that Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should have another go. While certain analysts believe Tinubu's first term as chairman of ECOWAS was rocked by certain challenges, others believe he did quite well and certainly deserves a second shot.
ECOWAS under President Tinubu has made noticeable impact in different sections, different sectors, in economic integration, even in terms of security and democratic governance.
The short answer is that the first term started badly. It started badly because there were circumstances that were not favorable to a new president, the coup going on and the rebellion and the protest. Our president started by managing it badly because the management of the situation displayed a lack of understanding of diplomatic tact.
There also have been talks about what benefits Nigeria gained while Tinubu occupied this role for 1 year and how his second year can impact the country positively.
Nigeria has a lot to gain, from his second term. It's just going to further some of the things he's already started in the first term.
We, the people, we didn't get anything from having a president and chairman of ECOWAS. I hope this time we can. Whether chairman or not, we need to tie economy to our diplomacy. But as chairman, it's easier to do that. We need to talk about projects and events that can help create job and wealth and help the people of Nigeria.
Over the past few years, ECOWAS has been criticized for not properly addressing certain activities happening in member countries. And analysts believe now is the time for the chairman to take charge of the region and restore her to her past glory.
ECOWAS is miles away from its potentials and from the dream that was made of it. So that we really need a reset of ECOWAS to give it vigor, to see the capacity of what it can do as to make it do those things.
All eyes will now be on the chairman to see if he will capitalize on the policies he put in place in the previous year or come up with new ones, especially concerning Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger, who are currently under military rule and have decided to pull out of the region to form the Sahel Alliance. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
The ECOWAS Authority Heads of State and Government has appointed the President of Senegal as facilitator in negotiations with the countries of Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso in its efforts to return the three countries back to the regional bloc. This was during the recently concluded ordinary session of the authority, where member states were tasked to raise about $2.6 billion needed for the regional standby force. Now, to discuss this and developments from the just concluded ordinary session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, we're joined by an African Affairs analyst, Kopep Dabugat. He is currently General Secretary of the West African Civil Society Forum, WACSOF, Abuja, Nigeria. Hello, sir. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, now tell us, what strategic significance do the appointments of President Bassirou Faye of Senegal and President Faure Gnassingbé of Togo hold for ECOWAS in the effort to reintegrate Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger Republic?
I think there is, it's a decision that was made out of, necessity, and also a decision that underscores realities on ground. I think if you look at the nature of the three countries that are exiting ECOWAS, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, you will see that they've had an extended period of history together. They've all been under the Songhai and the Mali Empire at some point. And to some extent, you find Togo and Senegal, also northern Togo and Senegal, also part of that broader mix of countries that were part of these old empires. So it is not surprise, perhaps because of the affinities that these peoples of these countries share. However, I would like to note categorically that President Bassirou Faye of Senegal, right from the time he was even campaigning for the presidency, before the elections took place earlier this year, he had made that commitment, expressly made the commitment that one of his cardinal policies, if he was to be elected, was to strengthen ECOWAS. And particularly, he was going to make it a point of duty to engage with the presidents of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso to seek their return to the ECOWAS.
All right, but then what main challenges and obstacles do you think that President Faye Gnassingbé might face in persuading these countries to return to the regional bloc, given the current political climates in the three countries?
I think the challenges are also fairly cut out for them. Basically, just the same, while the heads of state of the ECOWAS were having their summit here in Abuja, a similar summit of the Alliance of Sahelian States was held in Niger. And in that meeting, they took two very critical decisions. One is that they have reasserted their intention to irrevocably exit the ECOWAS. And secondly, they've adopted a treaty for the formulation of a confederacy between the three countries. Now, things have advanced. They have actually taken concrete measures. They have put in place, they have taken certain decisions, actionable decisions that would be implemented from now henceforth. So we are going to tell ourselves, welcome to the reality. These three countries have actually exited ECOWAS, you know. But then the challenge that this presents is that, I mean, there is a very clear, rigid position. They didn't even, in their communique, in their meetings, they didn't even mince their words. They didn't even carry out any diplomatic show, you know. They simply went straight and said they are exiting ECOWAS. They did not talk about ECOWAS. They did not mention any possibility of going back to ECOWAS. So it's a very, very difficult situation in that you are negotiating with a party that is clearly not interested in even considering.
Okay. Talking about them not being interested in considering.
So I guess we have to wait and see how the negotiations.
Yes. In waiting and seeing how the negotiations will actually pan out, are there measures and assurances that ECOWAS could offer to Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger in order to facilitate their return to the regional bloc?
Well, I think one of the key measures that was being offered, was the easing of the sanctions, particularly the sanctions on Niger, the financial and economic sanctions. Now, without, them even taking this as anything, you see that any other move that would be made, for example, the invitations that were sent out to these countries to attend technical meetings, invitations that were sent out for mediation meetings, requests that were being made for teams and committees to visit these countries and try to negotiate, were all denied, So these countries are clearly resolved. There doesn't seem to be any, should I say, carrot, so to say, that can be offered to these countries at the moment, because they have clearly shown their resolve to exit ECOWAS. And it seems as if they are actually not going back because they are already putting in place institutions. They are raising finances. They are putting in place people and material to ensure that they actualize, their goal of exiting ECOWAS. So it is like we're between a wall and another hard place.
Well, fingers crossed. We'll wait to see how President Faye Agnasimbe, are able to communicate these measures and assurances to them. But thank you so much, Kopep, for joining us and speaking on this.
Thank you very much, and it's always a pleasure.
Pleasure is ours. Now, away from that, the Nigeria Customs Service, Ogun 1 Area Command, Idiroko, has announced seizures of contraband over 770.6 million naira worth duty-paid value between April and June 2024. The command also generated 92.36 million naira in revenue, a 52.46% increase from 53.98 million naira in the same period in 2023. In June 2024 alone, they surpassed their monthly revenue target by 77.86%. Seized contraband included 219 sacks and 1,725 parcels of cannabis sativa, 940 rounds of live ammunition, 44,466 liters of petrol, 2,227 used tires, 64 bales and 222 sacks of used clothes, 2,947 cartons of frozen poultry, 7,015 bags of foreign rice, and more. Comptroller James Ojo highlighted the command's commitment to combating smuggling and protecting the local economy. In line with the celebration of the World Skin Health Day 2024, dermatologists in Nigeria have raised alarm over the lack of access to skin health care and the growing indiscriminate and undiagnosed use of skincare products among the populace. In an exclusive interview with News Central TV, these dermatologists revealed that 200 million Nigerians are only subjected to 200 certified dermatologists across the country, leading to increased skin health burden, among other concerns. News Central's Adedugba reports.
The skincare industry in Africa is growing faster than anyone can think about. From do-it-yourselves videos on YouTube to reels on Instagram and Facebook, the social media space is seeing more skincare awareness every day. The fads and industry surrounding skin bleaching appear to be waning, with niacinamide, retinol, serum, and sunscreen being the most popular options. Too many cooks spoil the broth, and a lot of people go on social media to try to curate a skincare routine based on what they see on social media and may end up using too many products. And that can lead to, irritation, skin barrier damage, and, they may just end up complicating issues.
Healthy skin is beyond putting on cosmetics, which is what a lot of people think skin is about. It starts actually with good diet, a good and balanced diet. What you put in matters.
While these common trends may suggest a better option for skincare, dermatologists are raising alarm over inadequate access to proper skin health diagnosis. Dermatological care sometimes can be difficult because some countries have less than one dermatologist per 1 million people in the population. For instance, in Nigeria, we have about 200 dermatologists to 200 million people. So we are one of, such countries. So access to dermatological care sometimes can be difficult for people to be able to get easily. According to dermatologists, common bath trends in Africa, such as frequent skin exfoliation with net, is considered unsafe for the skin, as it excessively dries out the oil component on the skin surface, making it susceptible to skin diseases.
Absolutely not necessary to use a hard sponge, scratching. Sometimes some people even turn their towels into sponging and then they're doing something very hard. It's not necessary. Simple soaps or synthetic detergents, water, preferably cool to cold water and not hot water, which increases the loss of water from your skin, is what you need. Baby, adults.
World Skin Health Day is a global initiative by the International League of Dermatological Societies and the International Society of Dermatology, and is celebrated on every 8th day in July to educate people about the significance of skin health and encouraging discussion and actions that work towards improving skin health. In Lagos, for News Central, Adedugba.
Thank you, Adeshewa, for that report. Now, News Central has partnered with the Center for Journalism, Innovation and Development and Premium Times to produce On the Issue, a direct approach 15-minute docu-series that explores societal matters in primary health care, agriculture, and gender equality, along with other pressing issues that require special attention and prefers solutions through expert opinions. Each episode will focus on a specific topic, providing in-depth analysis, data community feedback, and discussions with professional insights through special interviews to offer a comprehensive understanding and give various perspectives. The series will air twice every month from June to October on News Central, DSTV, Channel 422, Star Times, Channel 274 on Sundays at 1 p.m. and a repeat broadcast on Wednesday by 4 p.m. This can also be watched live on News Central social media platforms. Coming up after the break, Arshad Sharif murder. Kenya court rules police killing of Pakistani journalist unlawful. We'll bring you details in a moment. U.S. troops have completed their withdrawal from their base in Niger's capital, Niamey, and will fully depart from Agadez in the north before the September 15 deadline set by the country's military rulers, officials from both countries confirmed on Sunday. Niger's military leaders terminated a military cooperation agreement with Washington in March following their seizure of power in a July 2023 coup. The United States had approximately 650 soldiers stationed in Niger, participating in anti-jihadist missions across several Sahel nations in West Africa, including operating a major drone base near Agadez. Rwanda is preparing for the general elections on the 15th of this month to elect president and members of the Chamber of Deputies. Rwanda's elections in 2024 are expected to be a tightly managed electoral process. Now, President Paul Kagame was declared the winner of the 2017 elections with 99% of the votes, and political analysts saying the results are unlikely to vary much during the cycle. Kagame has ruled Rwanda since 1994, coming to power in the wake of the genocide of an estimated 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus. If elected into power again, this will be the 66-year-old Kagame's fourth official term. Earlier, Lionel Nditabirie, a freelance writer and political analyst based in Kigali, Rwanda, spoke to us on this development.
Apart from the fact that it is the 30th anniversary, so it's a big date, I don't think there is much difference. There is excitement for some voters who are voting for the first time. And the two key issues here that are discussed, at least in my view, are security, because there is concern that the situation in the DRC could spill over into Rwanda. And also, there are issues related to economy, because the issues related to youth unemployment and inflation, as we see in other parts of the continent, also exist in Rwanda.
Amnesty International warned on Monday that Rwanda's political opposition faces severe restrictions ahead of elections next week that President Paul Kagame is widely expected to win. Kagame has been Rwanda's de facto ruler since the end of the 1994 genocide, which claimed some 800,000 lives, mostly Tutsis but also moderate Hutus. Now, while the East African country has trumpeted economic transformation under his leadership, international organizations have decried the narrowing space for civil and political society, as well as reports of rights abuses. Last month, Human Rights Watch also warned that the authorities had cracked down on the opposition, media, and civil society ahead of the July 15 presidential and parliamentary polls. In the east of the continent, a Kenyan court on Monday found police acted unlawful over the killing of a Pakistani journalist in 2022 following a complaint by his widow. Arshad Sharif, a strident critic of Pakistan's powerful military establishment and supporter of former Premier Imran Khan, was shot in the head when Kenyan police opened fire on his car in October 2022. The High Court in Kajiado, south of Nairobi, rejected a police claim that the killing was a case of mistaken identity and that officers believed they were firing on a stolen vehicle involved in an abduction. Judge Stella Mutuku ruled that Sharif's murder was unconstitutional and that his rights to life and protection were violated. The court ordered the government to pay 10 million Kenyan shillings in compensation. In other news from around the world, Beijing on Monday protested as Philippines and Japan signed a defense pact against China that will allow the deployment of troops on each other's territory as they boost ties in the face of China's growing assertiveness. Lin Jian, the foreign ministry spokesman, termed it as small circles that would encourage a new Cold War and provoke confrontation. The signing of the Reciprocal Access Agreement, RAA, comes as China's saber rattling towards Taiwan and over the South China Sea fuels fears of a potential conflict that could drag in the United States. The RAA was finalized in Manila, where Japanese Defense Minister Minoru Kihara and Foreign Minister Yoko Kamikawa held talks with their Philippine counterparts Gilberto Teodoro and Enrique Manalo.
国家间的相互理解与信任，不应破坏地区和平与稳定，不应针对第三方或损害第三方利益。亚太地区不需要军事集团，更不需要挑动阵营对抗、鼓动新冷战的小圈子。任何损害本地区和平稳定、破坏本地区团结合作的行径。
In business, while gold prices surge globally, Nigeria is setting its sights on its mining industry. Now, this conversation dives into Nigeria's potential to become a major mining player, exploring recent developments, government policies, and the challenges that lie ahead. On Business Edge today, Victory George, investment research analyst at Meristem Securities Limited, gave an overview of the sector under the current government.
$1 billion. The opportunities are quite enormous, and setting the country on that path to be able to benefit, from this global attention to commodities like gold and other, resources in the mining sector. The current administration is doing everything possible.
In the world of sports, the management of CAF Champions League 2024-2025 campaigners and reigning MPFL champions Rangers International has given its retained as well as the newly engaged players Tuesday, July 9th, 2024 to hit the Coal City for the kickoff of pre-season activities ahead of the fast approaching season. GM CEO of the club, Amobi Ezeaku, in conjunction with the technical advisor Fidelis Ilechukwu, confirmed this date and list of players expected back after due diligence Sunday, July 7th, 2024. They will be joined by the likes of Garando Tekena, Evans Ogbonda, Anayo Ogbonna, Ekeson Okori, Chimobi Igwilo, Somto Chukwu Nwobodo, and some others whose negotiations are still ongoing as of press time. National Women's Soccer League side Bay FC has celebrated Nigeria's Super Falcons forward Asisat Oshola after she was picked to represent Nigeria. Oshola was among the 18 players selected by coach Randy Waldrum to represent the country at the upcoming Olympics in Paris, France. The club presented Oshola and 5 other Olympic players with bouquets to send them off to the games. Oshola is expected to team up with other Falcon players who are already in camp in Seville, Spain. Nigeria will open their campaign with a clash against Brazil before facing Spain and Japan later in the group. Still talking sports, Nigeria's Super Falcons have kick-started preparations for their first appearance at the Women's Olympic Football Tournament in 16 years as their camp in the city of Jerez de la Frontera outside Sevilla has come alive with most of the invited players in camp. With 12 players at breakfast on Monday, team administrator Mary Oboduku said that 2 more players were being expected at the team's hotel by Monday afternoon. Team captain Rashidat Ajibade, goalkeepers Chiamaka Nnadozie and Tochukwu Oluehi, defenders Chidinma Okeke and Nicole Payne, midfielders Christy Uchebe, Tony Payne, Deborah Abiodun and Jennifer Echegini, and forward Esther Okoronkwo are in camp. Defenders Osinachi Ohale and Michelle Alozie were being expected at the team's hotel Monday afternoon. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, here's another look at some of our top stories. We told you that El Rufai's suit against Kaduna Assembly adjourned till July 17th. We also told you that a Mewule-led faction of Rivers Assembly asks Governor Fubara to represent 2024 budgets. Finally, you heard that Kenya court ruled police killing of Pakistani journalist unlawful. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.